Can you gain a new language through traumatic brain injury? Like, you know those tabloid articles where it's like a guy wakes up from a coma speaking Mandarin or something? There's actually some interesting science behind stories like this, but it might not be what you think, so don't start bonking yourself on the head yet. The way a lot of these brain injury related new language stories are presented makes it seem like it's xenoglossy, and that's the Greek term for like unlocking fluency in a new language completely from scratch that you've never studied before. Like, they'll be like, this guy woke up speaking Spanish and he never even heard of Spain before. But if you put your thinking cap on, you might be like, yeah, that's definitely not true. And yeah, you're right, you can't just magically learn a new language that you never studied before, but there's real science related to this, and it's cool because it's real. So in virtually every single one of these cases where somebody magically learned a new language, they'd actually studied it before. But the thing is, they often didn't speak it fluently, and it might have been years since they learned it. Like, they might not have even remembered learning it. And this is where it gets really interesting. Especially when you learn a language later in your life, your brain stores the knowledge of that language separately from your native language. So for instance, if you're a typical American, your high school Spanish is likely physically separate in your brain from your English. And in all of these cases of xenoglossy, the person survived, right? So obviously their whole brain didn't get affected, just parts of it. Sometimes these localized brain injuries lead to something called aphasia. Basically, part of the brain stops working and you just lose a random ability. These injuries can be really devastating, but they're really interesting case studies on how the brain works. Usually if bilingual people have some sort of linguistic aphasia, it affects both of their languages. But not always. Sometimes it only affects their native language, but then one they might have learned remains intact. So basically, if they want to communicate, they have to use that second language. And in addition to that, their native language is actually suppressed, so it makes it easier to use that second language. So even if you only knew like 10 Spanish words, it'd be your only option and you wouldn't have your English interfering anymore. And so these cases of selective bilingual aphasia lead to the appearance of sudden fluency in a different language. So these xenoglossic claims aren't just complete nonsense, there's some science there, but still don't recommend bonking yourself on the head. Also, if you want to support videos like this, check out these cool hoodies and shirts in the link in my bio.